Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live here on Facebook, where we examine headlines from our country, Mexico, from our city, Puerto Vallarta, from our state, Jalisco, and other items that might be of interest to us as a community of English-speaking locals to help us have a better, more connected life with our surroundings, with our city, with our culture, with all the good things that Mexico has to offer. It is always a pleasure to get together with you. And of course, today is a good day because it's Monday. Monday, we usually start with COVID News Monday. We feature Music Mondays. So that's exactly what we're going to have today. This is the first time that you're joining us. We love knowing who you are and knowing that you're new. You can let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comment. In that way, we can give you a proper welcome. If you have an important comment that you wish to share with us and you wish to discuss during or bring up during the broadcast, it helps a lot if you add the letter Q to your comment. And as always, let me take a look at who's joining us this Monday morning, this April 26th. Can you believe April is almost over? I can't. David Dunphy is in the house. It's great to see you, Dave. Claude, it's great to see you. I'm hoping that this week is better too. Last week was a lot of work, but good work. Good work. Raymond, of course, starts with a good pun. Hope my jokes don't hit a sour note on Music Monday. No worries. We are going to have sour music today, so we're going to be fine. San Antonio's in the house. It's nice to see you, Janet. Boom, 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 bum, 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 bim, bum, bum. Let's see who else is here. Lots of people are here. It's great to see you. Hospital workers beware restless nights for patients. Does that have anything to do with a full moon? I certainly hope not. Let's see what else we have. Angela says, good morning, clusterites. I like that. International Jazz Day coming up on the 30th. Lots of online concerts. Yeah, I like that, Liz. Thank you very much for the reminder. We're going to be looking at what's available out there. Luna has a cute butt. Yes, she does. She's just, chilling this morning, waiting to see what we're going to talk about. Did Luna catch the full moon? Probably. I slept right through it. When was the full moon? Was it last night or is it tonight? I'm not entirely sure, but I'll definitely keep my eyes on this. Let's see. Boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom. Let us get started with our news today. We're going to talk about vaccines, although we did not hear directly from our governor, Enrique Alfaro. He did have other things to report, some of which we're going to talk about today. We're going to touch base on the Oscars, although I don't have much to share about the Oscars. I totally missed it, but I have a couple of articles that you may want to read. And I went out for a walk yesterday. I want to show you some photographs of what I took. And of course, Monday is for music, and we're going to talk about a Mexican music style or genre that you may know a little bit about, you may not. We're going to hit the tip of the iceberg today and do some exploration. So let's get started. And as always, we get started with our big headlines. The state of Jalisco has now received the largest vaccine shipment to date. Yesterday morning, 293,810 CanSino, AstraZeneca, and Pfizer vaccines were received. And the Secretary of Health for the state, Fernando Peterson Aranguren, indicated that these vaccines will be used for teachers and also for those seniors in Guadalajara's metropolitan area that are still missing their second dose. It is also worth noticing that this past weekend, the state of Jalisco reported the lowest number of hospital admissions due to COVID-19 since May of last year. Yay! Presently, there are 251 people admitted in public hospitals throughout the states for COVID, and this represents an occupancy of only 8.3%. In his morning address, where did you go, Luna? Oh, Luna's gone. In his morning conference, Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador reported that the number of COVID-19 cases continues to decrease throughout the country and that there is no actual trend that would indicate that a third wave of COVID is coming at this time. However, he did recommend that we continue to follow the basic guidelines to ensure that this diminishing trend continues moving forward. More specific news about teacher vaccination plans throughout the country will be announced tomorrow. If you may recall, over the weekend, we indicated that whereas we thought that teacher vaccination would take place at the convention center is not available during those dates. So we are still waiting to find out exactly where vaccination for teachers will take place in our city later on this week and as we begin the month of May. Of course, we are also reminded, unfortunately, that COVID is not the only thing to worry about when it comes to deaths in our country. We learned this morning that Mexico registered a new record number of murder victims in a single day over the weekend. Yesterday, 115 murders took place throughout the country, the highest number this year so far. The majority of murders took place in the states of Mexico, Guanajuato, Jalisco, Michoacán, and Baja California. This is also the fourth time this year that daily murders are higher than 100 people. Not good news, but it is important to know that this is actually happening. Let me take a quick look at your comments before we move forward, just to see what's on your minds this beautiful Monday morning. Let's see. I'm looking for cues. Terry says, good morning, all, and a big hello to my sister Linda Elfers. Good morning. Jacobo, oh my goodness, my dear friend Jacobo Martinez from Cancun. He is an amazing choreographer, an amazing dancer who used to live here in Puerto Vallarta. It's great to see you. Te mando abrazotes. Glee Audrey says Oscars were boring. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see what else we have. HBD. Happy bearded dudes. Homosexuals busting Democrats. I don't know what HBD means, so please enlighten me. I don't know what that is. Claude thinks I froze for a few seconds. Actually, I'm melting here. It's really warm. I had to close my windows and my curtains because my next door neighbor was playing music really loud. I love the music sometimes, but not while we're doing the broadcast. Joe likes the darker background. Thank you very much, Joe. I'll keep that in mind. Although coming with the warmer weather coming. HBD, happy birthday. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. I didn't know what that meant. Thank you very much, Kelly, for clarifying that. I much appreciate it. Let's see. Let us move on to the weather for today and the next couple of days. Some of you meatbags may die getting to Mars, but that is a sacrifice Elon Musk is willing to make. That is really cute. That came, of course, from our snarky carrot weatherman. Today, the weather is 27 degrees Celsius, feels like 27. Humidity is at 50%. And for those of you Fahrenheitites, the weather is 80 degrees. And our forecast for today is mostly cloudy through the day, with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 20. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we can expect a partly cloudy day with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 20. And Wednesday, it'll be humid through the day, high temperature 30, low temperature 20. Maybe Wednesday will be a good day to swim, go swimming in a pool or go swimming in the river or somewhere because it's getting warmer and warmer. Let us see. Yesterday, I want to tell you about yesterday. Yesterday, I went walking around the city. I actually went walking for Wednesday, but in the process of getting to where I was walking, I happened to walk past Calle Francia. And Calle Francia, as I told you, is being rebuilt here in Colonia Versalles. And this is what Calle Francia looked like yesterday. I'm looking at it from across the street in Medina Asensio, the main avenue. That would be the entrance to Calle Francia, which is now completely blocked to traffic temporarily. Here's a look at it from the other end. That would be the first and second block. Here is the restaurant owned by my dear friend Cesar, the seafood taco place that we've been talking about recently, is right here. And if I turn my camera in the opposite direction, you'll see that the next block is also already in the process of being fixed up. We think these are good news for the city, good news for the colonia, for the neighborhood, and of course, good news for the businesses that are there. Of course, they don't feel like it is a good news right now because they're being, construction's taking place right across the street from them or right outside of their businesses. So please be mindful of this if you can, if you're craving some food. We're looking in this photo at Sushi In-House, which is really wonderful. And of course, in the previous block, there is a series of cafes along this sidewalk, and there's a seafood restaurant. There's some tacos over here. I am sure that these businesses are going to be looking at all the business they can get while their streets are being fixed. Terry says getting to La Mara looks challenging. La Mara is right around the corner from here. And yes, it will probably be a little bit challenging. What I said to my friends, I visited with my friend Cesar at his restaurant yesterday, and I said to him, better sooner than later. The sooner your street gets fixed, the better it will be for you guys. And let us hope that the city will move through these improvements in Calle Francia and other streets in Colonia Versalles as quickly as possible. I also want to share two headlines from the Academy Awards last night. Again, I haven't watched much of anything. I haven't checked out any headlines. I know the name of the film that won, and I know that some Mexican professionals won in the technical award for sound. But again, I haven't been checking all the info. But I have two articles to share with you from Vox. The first one is called 7 Winners and 4 Losers from the Deeply Eccentric 2021 Oscars. Deeply eccentric. I'm going to try to find a way to download the actual ceremony, and at the very least, I'll play it as background music while I'm cleaning my house, just to see what all the fuss was about. And then there's another article here, 4 ways in which the 2021 Oscars made history. You may want to take a look at this, with major milestones from a historically weird Academy Award. So this should be a fun read from Vox, and we'll see what that is about. Let me take a quick look at your comments before we dive into Monday music. Um, and let's see, I even missed who got the birthday today. So, who got the birthday today? Let's see. Okay, whoever you are whose birthday is today, have a happy birthday. I cannot find your comment, but have a good birthday today. We should have our birthday horn. Uh, no, not that one. Let's try an applause. Happy birthday! There you go. Okay, so now I think it is a good time to talk a little bit about music. And before we do that, deeply eccentric and historically weird sums the night up quite perfectly. Oh, Logan, you tempt me to watch with that remark. It was fun seeing the Oscars at Union Station, one of my favorite buildings in my hometown. That's good to know. It was a far more interesting award show than usual. So far more interesting or historically weird. You guys have me intrigued. I must find it now. I must find it. Before I move on to the music, no, I'm gonna save my mini rant for tomorrow. I have a mini rant about music, but I'm gonna save it till tomorrow. Um, yes. Let us move on with our our presentation for today. And our presentation for today has to do with corridos. Corridos, which are a popular narrative metrical tale that forms a ballad or song. A ballad or song. You have heard ballads in English, the ballad of somebody or other. The songs are often about oppression, corridos are, history, and other socially relevant topics. Now, corridos became very, very popular during the Mexican Revolution here in Mexico. The name comes from the Spanish word correr, which means to run. Why are they called corridos? I am not entirely sure, but that's the definition of the word. Now, here's an example of how a corrido was printed back at the beginning of the 20th century. You probably know this one, La Cucaracha. It is a very common song. I would say that it is a Mexican song, but it isn't. It comes from Spain, and we're going to save the story of La Cucaracha for another day. But what I want you to take a look at here is how there's oodles and oodles of verses. And when these verses were distributed, the verses tell a story. In this close-up, we can see that there are many, many verses. And these verses were adapted into songs. And that's how we know some of the corridos that we're listening today. And it is also worth mentioning that until the arrival of electronic mass media halfway through, say, the 20th century, the corrido served in Mexico as the main informational and educational outlet, which is ironic to a certain extent because a lot of these corridos were satirical in nature, but for better or worse, it is through music and these songs that the news were distributed and reproduced throughout the country. Here's another example of a corrido as published at the time. This was shortly after the beginning of the 20th century. This one is about Francisco y Madero, a revolutionary hero, triumphantly arriving in Mexico City after the revolution. Now, once mass media distribution came, you'd think that corridos would have died. And no, corridos are alive in some different ways. There are some very benign corridos that are still being sung today. There are other corridos that are not as benign. For example, the so-called narco corrido is a musical style that tells tales of actual narco drug smugglers with lyrics that tend to speak approvingly of illegal activities, mainly drug trafficking. But we're not going to get into those. We're going to focus on the original corridos. And we're going to focus the rest of our presentation on this one, which you may or may not have heard before, the corrido of La Adelita, which is one of the most famous corridos to come out of the Mexican Revolution. It is a story of a young woman in love with a sergeant who travels, and she travels with him and his regiment. She became a popular icon, eventually becoming synonymous with the term soldadera, or female soldier. So nowadays, if you call a woman, if you call her La Adelita, or she's an Adelita, what you're saying is that she's a very bold, courageous woman. What is the song about? Let's take a quick look at the first verse and chorus. The verse begins, in the height of a steep hill, a regiment was camping, and a woman was following the regiment boldly because she was madly in love with the sergeant. Adelita was her name, and she was popular among the troops. She was the woman that the sergeant idolizes. And aside from being bold and courageous, she was beautiful. So even the colonel would respect her. And it is said that he would say he who loved her so much. And then we jump into the chorus. And the chorus of the song is, if Adelita were to leave with another man, I would follow her through land and through sea. If it was through the ocean, through sea, through the ocean, I would follow her on a warship. And if it was through land, I would follow her on a military train. And if Adelita wanted to be my wife, if she wanted to be my woman, I would buy her a silk dress to take her dancing at headquarters. And that was the original part of the song. Sherry says that my face is covering the face of the picture. You know, I have to put my face somewhere, Sherry. So, you know, it's going to stay there, and I don't mind wearing this dress temporarily. In fact, I think I look rather fabulous on it. But I'll give you a glimpse of what's behind it. Whoop! See, she's not happy. So you would rather see her looking frowny, or you'd rather see me smiling. There you go. And stop throwing cakes at me. Okay, I'll come down here. If that makes you feel better. Anything to please you guys. Moving right along, let me see. Where are my notes? Here are my notes. Let me now play you the chorus of Adelita, the song, just in case you have not heard it. You guys are such a tough bunch. My face is covering this. You haven't gone back to the cemetery. You promise this, you promise that. My goodness, you coffee and headlines mongers. You drink more coffee and expect so much, but that's okay. I love you anyway. So, in case you're not familiar with the corrido de la Adelita, here is the chorus for you to enjoy.
Si Adelita se fuera con otro, la seguiría por tierra y por mar. Si por mar en un buque de guerra, si por tierra en un tren militar.
So, have you heard this music before? Probably yes, probably not. James says he's never heard this one. Well, you are bound to hear it sooner or later if you spend enough time sitting at Mexican restaurants. Now, you're probably wondering what happened to her? What happened to Adelita? Well, that's the funny thing about this story. The song is supposed to be based on a real-life character, the identity of whom, however, has not yet been established beyond doubt. Some claim that her real name was Altagracia Martinez, also known as Marieta Martinez, while others maintained she was in fact Adela Velarde, who was an actual nurse who took part in the military action, but she was involved as a nurse, not out of infatuation with a sergeant, as a popular myth goes. But nonetheless, Adelita came to be an archetype of a woman warrior in Mexico during the Mexican Revolution, as I mentioned earlier. And Adelita was a soldadera or woman soldier who not only cooked and cared for the wounded, but also actually fought in battles against Mexican government forces. In time, the word Adelita was used for all the soldaderas who became a vital force in the Revolutionary War efforts. Now, we know that the term Adelita has since then come to signify a woman of strength and courage. But the story doesn't, we still don't know who she is. Here's a depiction of her, of Adelita, from the Historical Museum of the Mexican Revolution in the city of Chihuahua. So it is quite funny that there's sculptures made of her and there are songs made of her, but we actually don't know who she really is. And just to make the story even more curious, there was a Russian film called Jolly Fellows released in 1934 for which composer Isaac Donaevsky composed the music. It has been argued that the composer copied the music from Adelita and never credited the source. Of course, we don't even know who wrote the original music for the song either. So, what was the composer copying? We don't even know. I'm going to play you a bit of the song March of the Jolly Fellows from this 1934 film, and you will hopefully notice a similarity to the chorus from Adelita, which I just played. So that is a little bit of the introduction of the song La Adelita, as lifted, copied, plagiarized, we don't know, by this Russian composer from 1934 film, The Jolly People, whatever it was called. And that was Music Monday for today. Let me take a quick look at your comments. Let's see. La 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 la. A ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, a ver. Da. Deeply eccentric, we've been there. Question: did anyone see Brad Pitt at the Oscars? No, Brad Pitt was having sex with me. So that's why nobody saw him there. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what else. Let's see what else. Corridos are uniquely Mexican phenom. Yes. Okay, here's where you started throwing pies at me. Looks good on you, that dress. Thank you, Claude. Terry says, it looks like you have the dress on. Thank you, Terry. Joe looks like I'm wearing a dress. Thank you for the pie, Joe. Linda threw a pie at me as well. Paco just really rocks that dress. Thank you for throwing a pie at me, Linda. Let's see what else. Adelita is telling the story. That is a semi-pie. Paco, your face is covering the face of the picture. Again, Sherry, I have to put it somewhere. Let's see. Paco de Adelita, thank you for the pie, Jeannie. Paco, we love you. I think you love me, Michael. However, you will never see me throwing pies at you. Let's see what else. Terry has not heard it either. And you asked a Mexican restaurant for sandunga. That is very, very strange because that they didn't know it. It's a very popular song. Let's see what else we have. Wonderful story. Thanks for that. Thank you very much, Sherry. Let's see what else we have. We love you, Paco, and remember you created us. Sherry, I didn't create you. And I will never throw a pie at you. But thank you for saying that you love me. Terry says that is not pie throwing, it's more like throwing Hershey kisses. That's easy for you to say because nobody's throwing anything at you, Terry. In all seriousness, friends, I love doing what I do, and I love interacting with you. And I know that I can get snarky and I can have my place in which I am not entirely flawless in terms of pie throwing. But, you know, some days you seem kinder than others. Some days you seem more pie throwy than others. Today, you seem to be throwing a lot of pies, and that's just the way it is. Um, so that's what we have for today. This was Coffee and Headlines. I really, really hope you enjoyed yourselves. I really hope you learned something new. And I really hope you'll come back sometime in the near future for more news, more headlines, more pie throwing, whatever floats your boat. Have a great day.